Hello, Bianca.
Hello, love.
How are you? You are in Mexico City right now, is that right?
Yes, I am. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm in Glastonbury, waiting for the solstice on Friday. I'm kind of preparing for that as well. Um,
Mm,
so, hello to the people that are joining us or who are joining us already right now. So, Bianca and I felt like doing this last River of Rose consciousness episode before the end of the year, um, to kind of talk about the energy of the rose during this past year, how it was present, how it developed, maybe also how we feel that it supported the collective through everything that the collective has been through, how it's
mm,
evolving in the world, and how it will hold space, or how we feel it can and has the capacity to hold space for people in the next year as well. And then maybe we can also share some words about how we feel about the energy right now, coming up to the solstice, powerful portal in the year as well. So what's present right now, and how do we feel that we can close this year, or what is the consciousness or the awareness with which we can kind of sail through these last days of the year, and open the door to a next phase of life as well.
mm. I
So
love that.
mm,
Mm, Thank you, love, and welcome everyone who's on here. I'm feeling inspired to all drop in if you feel like connecting
yes.
with us and just taking a couple minutes to harmonize our breath and connect from the heart center.
Mm.
So if you're watching, I'll just invite you to close your eyes and just relax your whole body. Soften everything and let everything just flush with your exhale. With every inhale, just expanding and bringing in sweet nourishment. And with every exhale, just releasing, relaxing, softening. I'll invite you to take inhales through the nose, exhales through the mouth, and as you exhale, just softening more and arriving into this space together as we bring our consciousness and our presence to this one pointed moment with each other. And just deep gratitude for everyone who is tuning in, for my sister Anise, and for the energy of this podcast, if you call it the River of Rose Consciousness, this opportunity it has given us to share and exchange and ground the works and teachings of the Rose. And gratitude for the anchoring of this, and then just bringing intention to softness and stillness as we enter into this very powerful moment, point in time into the winter solstice, honoring the darkness, the dark goddess, and also honoring the light we see in the stars, the light we see in the candles that we light, the light we see from the sun that begins to emerge more brightly every day after the 21st. And then gratitude to the rose and her energy, the Magdalene, all the goddesses that and gods that join us on this beautiful journey of exchange, and to be present with us so the words flow in truth, in alignment, pure, and reach whoever is needing this message right now, and to spread this consciousness in whatever intelligent way that it does. Oh.
Ah, oh,
Mm.
thank you.
Hello.
That was beautiful. It's beautiful to
Mm.
place the energy um, at the eve of solstice in some countries. The winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. For us here in the UK, the winter solstice is on the morning of the Friday, so the 22nd. In a lot of countries, it's already tomorrow on the 21st, so in this window.
Mm.
And we talked about this the other day together, how we're in this energy of the mother, this energy of the mother goddess and the dark mother. And in Scandinavian countries, there is still this tradition where the eve of the solstice is the mother's night. It's called the mother's night because we go into the darkest of the darkest, the deepest part of the womb of the mother, and the darkest part within ourselves as well, to kind of really release and really go to the deepest point of death within before we are reborn at the solstice and before the return of the light. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I have felt a lot of people going through a lot of intense inner work these last couple of days. And I always feel this time of year, the time between kind of the new moon in December, which this year was on the 12th, and the 21st, like tomorrow, or the 22nd, the day of solstice, is this really intense window of time where we get to relive every process and everything that we've been through throughout the whole year, to kind of process and check ourselves and see where we are in everything that we've encountered throughout the year, to as a last kind of alchemical churn in our inner cauldron before we go into this process of rebirth. And I believe it's important to be mindful that we are in that process, and maybe to take the opportunity as well today or tomorrow to do some journaling or some writing. In any case, to do a practice or a ritual allowing us to really take note of everything that's happened and let go of the inner patterns and the things that no longer serve us. That's my way of kind of going through this period and going up to the solstice, preparing for the solstice. How do you prepare for the energy of the solstice, and how do you sense the energy of this year's solstice? Because every year is different as well.
Yeah, thank you. That was really beautiful, everything you shared. Yes, definitely. I've been feeling a big kind of final, let's say, purge, like a final kind of process of release in myself, just coming back from India, and in India experiencing like being sick for a week, and really like a physical cleansing that was physical, but also very much mental. I feel like a lot of deep-seated programs and beliefs just kind of clearing out. So, and then also in the field, in different circles that I'm in, like I'm feeling a lot of just kind of final pieces of letting go and shedding, which are coming up actually commonly now that I'm seeing in a physical way. Like people are having like very physical symptoms, which is interesting. It doesn't have to come up like that, but it does feel like kind of just like this final opportunity to shed the last leaves of our tree before we really are prepared to then enter into this more in this phase where the sun is shining for longer in the day, and spring is upon us, and the seeds are ready to be planted again. And that's what kind of this, for me, this day represents. It's like we're coming into like almost like a really fresh slate, and it's beautiful that there's no coincidence that our new year is right by the winter solstice, because it really is that energy. It's like, what are we finishing and reflecting on that and giving thanks for, and what are we opening into And
Mm.
I mean, for me, these days are, I love them. I live for them. And I really do feel the veil between spirit and form, heaven on earth, is thin. And so even in this simple moment of silence and meditation, there's a lot of clarity that we can receive. There's no coincidence that cultures all around the world built their temples completely aligned with these days, so that the shadow would cast in a specific day on the equinox or solstice, or the sun would shine through multiple gates perfectly on this day. So there is a lot of magic, and they've been revered for thousands of years. So really, for me, what I'll be doing tomorrow morning, for me, which will be solstice, is the last 3 years I've been in Egypt. So it's an interesting shift, but I'm very grateful for it. I feel so blessed to be here in Mexico City. And tomorrow morning I'll be going to Teotihuacan, the temple of the sun and the moon.
Beautiful.
To watch the sun come up. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. And then I'll be doing a vision board tomorrow.
Beautiful.
I had been intending to do it all week, and it just didn't land. And I'm like, okay, I guess it wants to land on this day. So that's also a very fun and creative way to start holding vision for what our 2024 is going to bring for us. So that's really, like, I highly invite and encourage people to do that exercise. It's so profound. The manifestation that I have seen, like from vision board to your reality, is insane. So I'm very excited to get into that creative process tomorrow. And definitely the last few days I've been really reflecting on how my 2023 has been and what I'm holding vision for 2024. It feels like there's a lot of seeds that have planted long ago that are blossoming, and a lot of new seeds that are being planted. So
yeah, definitely.
And then just a couple more things that I actually just learned very recently with Normandy Ellis, a dear teacher, that actually the solstice in ancient Egyptian times marks the day of the Immaculate Conception of Isis and Osiris, which is really, really interesting. And it also marks the completion of this process of mourning the two deaths of Osiris in the whole mythology of Osiris and Isis. And it's called the day of the black goddess, or the dark goddess, or the black cow, which is new information to me, but it makes so much sense. And it's really this final resurrection of Osiris, and Osiris is a god of agriculture. And so it's like, now it's time to plant seeds. And I'm really feeling this enthusiasm to really get physical seeds tomorrow, and maybe even just place them on my vision board for different things that I want to have blossom, maybe even tape them on. And then once I get to Costa Rica, once I get home, which I'll be going home very soon, I'm going to plant them, even maybe they are seeds that will grow, but maybe like an almond seed and different nuts, and let's see. But that kind of idea came through in the spirit of watching a seed grow. That's something also Normandy taught me some years ago. It's like, if you want to understand creation process, which is like kind of what we're opening up to with the beginning of a new year, it's like, plant the seed.
Yes.
Plant a seed. And I'm like, yeah, of course, right? Anyways, I'll pass it to you. Thank you for the space to share. So I'm feeling very spirited about this day, and a lot of creative energy, as you know, because there's a lot that you and I have in the pipeline for 2024, which I'm so excited about.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. That's really beautiful. You said something, I think that's really important. You said something about giving thanks and gratitude. And I think that's really part of, for me as well, for the solstice ritual and the ritual of Christmas. And, all these festivities feed into each other. And as the course that we're taking with Normandy Ellis and this energy of feasts of light, the energy of celebration was very much part in ancient times, in all cultures, of these turning points in the wheel of the year. And it's not just indulgence, and it's not just superficial to celebrate. It's important to celebrate these turning points in the wheel of the year. So to do it consciously consciously feels really important. So I will take my day tomorrow to really give thanks for all the gifts that I've received this year, all the beautiful people that I met, the beautiful people that are in my life, all the things I've learned as well through everything that's happened. I will also take some time to really see what's still there, what still needs to be let go of. Here in Glastonbury, of course, we have some rituals around the chalice well. There will be a labyrinth in a heart shape, which I think is beautiful because to me, the heart is all about the energy of next year. And then a ritual on the Tor as well. The Tor, which is the sacred mound of Glastonbury for people who haven't been here yet, which was such an important beacon, like really a beacon of light in the world. And it's in the heart of the heart center, the heart chakra of the world. So it feels important to place and to seed an intention of harmony and peace. So I will also be connecting to an energy of peace. And then with some people here, with some sisters, we will be doing a ritual tomorrow evening, and there will be another ritual on Friday. Feels important as well to gather in community and create this kind of circulation of energy of the heart. And again, seed the energy of peace. Like I just came back from a trip in Italy, and Assisi to me was a very inspiring place. And in Assisi, the presence of Saint Francis and the energy he held for peace, and the way in which he kind of embraced the whole of existence in his circle of peace and his circle of love. Like he preached not only to human beings, but also to the birds, also to the trees, to the animals, to the stones. And he really was in this consciousness that our whole earthly planetary family is one. And this is really the consciousness with which I want to go through this solstice. And I feel that's part of the intention and the energy that will be carried into the new year as well. And we talked about also how we feel that the energy of the rose will be present in the next year. Well, for me, this was very much seeded already this year. But I feel that there's such a strong message coming from the rose. Like the voice of the rose for me this year and next year is to widen the circle, and widen the circle of love, and widen the circle of compassion, and bring more people into that. And it's what I've felt really called to tell people as well when they're participating in circles or in prayers. Pray for yourself. Always place an intention for yourself. Place an intention for the people you love and the people you know, but widen the circle. Also pray for people you don't know yet, and people who are suffering in the world. And the world really needs us to be in this consciousness right now. That's something that's very present with me, and it's very alive in me, and that I will take into next year as well. And then after the solstice, I will be vision boarding like you, definitely. And we're getting together with a group of sisters as well to do this together, to nourish each other's energy and seed each other's intentions and support and witness each other's intentions as well. I think witnesses on the path are important as well. And again, we have this window of time between the solstice and the Epiphany, which is the 6th of January, which is the whole process of rebirth. Like the solstice is the start of the process of rebirth. But again, then until the 6th of January, there's this super powerful creative window. And any intention that we place in that time is so powerful and holds so much energy. So I really invite everyone to really think about, what do I want to represent? What do I want to create? And also, what difference do I want to make in the world?
Mm,
Because this is also the energy of next year for me already. The energy of fire, the energy of coming into our light, of being in our power, and how can I contribute to a positive change?
mm,
What do I want to contribute to something beautiful and positive in the world?
mm, mm. Thank you for sharing all of that. So beautiful. And I love the question rather than like, what, I mean, I think it's beautiful eventually to get to kind of more detailed, what am I doing next year? But I think just the question is, what is my impact?
Yes.
What is my impact? How am I serving? How am I bringing more love and peace into this world? And something that came up on a 12th on the new moon when I did a ceremony was bringing us to 2024 and asking ourselves, what legacy have I left?
Mm.
And I really love that question. I think that's a great one to move into our vision boarding and to this like portal of kind of manifestation, deep creation. It's like, what legacy did I leave looking back? And we can do that about 2023. It's a great journaling exercise. And then visualize yourself at the end of next year already and say, what legacy did I leave? What did you leave this year? How did you contribute to this heart consciousness?
Mm.
And I have a feeling that most people watching this are on this path of a heart-led life. So I'm saying that, but also if your legacy seems to be different, then what has been my legacy? And then
Mm.
just create from there and imagine from there and know that it has been done.
Mm.
So
That's
yeah.
really beautiful and a powerful practice. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. As you were talking, so many little bubbles came up and kind of none of it has stuck now. So I'm just like,
Um,
oh, yeah, actually, remember,
no,
unless you want to go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Okay. Transitioning a little bit to like how my perception of the rose consciousness in this year and what I'm feeling for next year.
Yes.
The other day when we had a call, you used the word frivolous, and I've heard that word before, and I kind of like I knew what it was, but I actually went and searched it to actually get the proper definition of it, and I don't have that now, but it just means something that is aloof, it doesn't have much,
Much body.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, this year was a big turning point of bringing rose consciousness to a frivolous idea to receive ground.
Mm.
And from being this very 5D spiritual concept to truly being anchored
Mm.
and having a place in this earthly walk that we have today. And part of a big spark of that and where we actually met was the Heart of the Rose Festival, which for me, I mean, it was a big effort to go there, but it felt so important because it felt like the transition of bringing this very aloof concept to some people to, although like it's my devoted path, it still felt like it was all up here. And I really appreciated this these steps towards grounding
Mm.
it and making people realize that this path of the rose is a very, very real concept. And the rose is awakening in so many people's hearts right now because she's ripe and ready. The heart is ready to lead. People are ready to lead life from the heart, to make that paradigm shift from the head to the heart. And so to bring the rose as an idea, as a symbol, into very practical, tangible, seeable, sensible ways, for me, that's kind of what this year marked the beginning of. Maybe for others, it already started much before that. But for 2024, I feel like that is going to happen a lot
Mm.
more, a lot more. And people are going to understand how rose consciousness can be such a guide in living this life. Because, as you were bringing up the topic of peace, there's a lot to pray for right now. There's a lot to hold in our hearts and wish for this earth to awaken. And the rose can be a beautiful ally, guide, in showing us how to not only hold sorrow of the world, but also support the awakening of the hearts of the world. So while in parallel, there's so much going on, the rose can guide us in how to pray from the heart, and how to, and not just how, but that it's real, that our prayers are rippling. And I mean, this has been a concept for a long time, and it's real, especially collective prayer. But she can show us what's happening and how, and make it real for us. And so, you know, there's been this conflict of, like, you know, some people aren't speaking up about the whole conflict in Palestine and Israel right now, and people who are pro whatever are speaking up, and perhaps now bashing people who aren't speaking up. And I'm like, you know what, like, some people are in prayer, and some people are in the way they know. And I think it's really important, rather to build up resentment against other people. I think it's important just to honor that everyone has their own way of showing up for the world right now. And I feel that the rose, it gives you a map of how to show up. If that's in holding prayer circles, if that's in gathering the women and men in your community to hold a safe space so that they can just connect to their own truth and their own emotion. It's all valid. It's all valid. And I think we need to just give ourselves permission to show up, and how we are guided to honor that and celebrate that too. So I don't know if that was a tangent, but that feels kind of alive to share right now, as I see some bickering going on, which doesn't feel very good for me.
Oh, I think that's an important sharing. And it's been very present with me as well. And I've been really connecting as well these last couple of months to the four agreements, four Toltec agreements. One of those being, don't make any assumptions. Don't make any assumptions about someone else's path, or what they're doing or not doing, or how they're holding space, or what they've experienced, or what they are experiencing. And I think it's so connected to the energy of the rose. As you said, the rose is an energy of non-judgment. And if you are in a capacity and in a space in life where you can hold space for others, then that is great. And then you absolutely should feel empowered and encouraged to do that. But some other people are not able to do that for various reasons, and that is okay. You can also hold space for those people. Holding space for peace is also accepting where other people are, and not placing any expectations upon others. And I think it's really something that we're moving into more and more. I feel that we've experienced such strong duality these last couple of years, also with the whole COVID crisis and everything. It's like one against the other, and there's always this fighting, this bickering. And what is new, what I have noticed this last year, through all the pain and the hardship that humanity has gone through and is still going through, is that there is this widening platform of people who are saying, we actually just want to hold space for love and compassion. And we actually feel compassion for all people who are suffering, no matter what their nationality is, what their religious background is, what their life situation is. And this is the path that we want to walk. And to me, this is something really that is new, and it comes from what you talked about before, this embodied spirituality, where spirituality is no longer some floaty concept, something frivolous that is just there to distract or entertain the mind, but something that comes with actual embodiment, with actions, with words that are aligned with the consciousness that we're in. And I feel that as it's been present, of course, over the past couple of years, but this year there's really been a big switch of people also actually telling me, you know what, I really get it now. I get it, the energy of the rose and how it completely changes us on a cellular level, and how people have related back to me that the way in which they react to certain situations is completely different, and how their capacity to hold space for others has expanded exponentially. And this to me is what the core teaching of the rose is all about, is expanding the space of the heart, and it becomes the state of being, and it does make a big difference. If you walk the land with this consciousness, you seed, we talked about seeds, you seed something into the land that you're walking on, and it makes a big difference. It creates a portal, it opens something up for others to connect to as well. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. And it makes me just understand better, like this capacity to hold more or be expanded, because when we really are aligned, when we really are the frequency of unconditional love, there is no limits. It's infinite. And so as we adjust this body, this human self to that frequency, we're moving closer and closer to expansion, to being able to hold more space for what's happening, for the frequency of love to come through. It's like we are becoming these beautiful roses that are blossoming all over the world and bringing love consciousness all over the planet. That's like a really beautiful visual I just had, this globe with roses blossoming everywhere, and it's just like all these beings who are awakening to the heart, and not just mentally the idea of that, and even not just theoretically, not even just feeling it, but being it, being in fierce leadership with that resonance in our bodies. And I feel like it almost happens naturally and organically, because once we invite the rose in and she shifts our DNA to that consciousness, and we remember that we are the divinity, that we are divine in body, we are God, we are goddess. Once that activates that remembering in our cellularly, in our DNA, we don't really even need to change much more. The change will come from that remembrance. The confidence will come online. The passion for life and for love will naturally be, because once we have the experience of being divine, frequencies below that just can't exist, you know, even fear, which is, I mean, and I'm saying that lightly, of course, I also still dance with fear a lot, but the rose supports that unconditional, the frequency of unconditional love supports that. Mother Mary supports that, or whoever, whatever face of the mother, of the divine mother you want to give, to hold your hand while that fear comes up. And I think we've been tested as a collective a lot the last couple of years, like you said, with COVID, and now with the you know, what's happening, Palestine, Israel, and all over the world, that things are happening, right? And also movements in the earth. I'm here in Mexico 1 week and I've experienced 2 pretty serious earthquakes. And how do we navigate that frequency of fear? So it's almost been an opportunity to, again, with the support of the rose, hold that frequency of fear in a new way. Breathe through it, be patient with it, and let it transmute into what it actually is at the core of it, which is love. And it sounds maybe ridiculous, maybe you can relate to what I'm saying because you've had that experience, but I invite you, next time this intense frequency of fear comes up, just know that it will pass. Breathe, invite the divine mother to come in and support you through that moment, and let the frequency of unconditional love swallow in a gentle way the fear, and come back to love. And it's a very real process. And again, as I'm speaking this, it sounds a little, maybe it's my own belief, but even a little bit frivolous. So I think 2024, at least for me, is like how to ground my language even more, how to ground tools and processes that are related to this unconditional love, path of the heart, path of the rose consciousness. Really make it accessible so we can widen that circle, like you were saying, because it's beautiful, like you said, women coming and saying, I really get it. As you were saying that, I was like, what about the people who don't yet? You know, what can we share with them right now to, yes, there's tools, but what if we want to mentally understand, what are we trying to deliver here? Like, what is rose consciousness actually? What can you, not to have expectations, but what is the process of awakening to rose consciousness? Maybe you want to attempt that question.
Yeah, because a lot came through as you were speaking. Very inspiring words, and so true to me. Rose consciousness, and it is what we're stepping more and more into, and I feel this energy very strongly for the next cycle, for next year, is the courage to live from the heart and the courage to live our truth. And when we live from the heart, we automatically widen our circle. We automatically accept people as they are. And as you said, it doesn't mean we become superhuman, because of course there are things that will challenge us. Of course we will be met with fear at certain things that happen in our lives. But when we have this connection to the rose, and this connection for me also very linked to the Divine Mother and Mary Magdalene specifically, there is this knowing that the fear is just it's an illusion. It's a very thin layer to push through. Just by being and just allowing it to be there, we automatically move through it into a wider layer of being. So it's for me, the rose is an energetic structure of support that allows us to make the choices that we want to make, but that we're sometimes afraid to make. The choice to speak our truth, the choice to live our truth, the choice to live our passion, the choice to feel alive at every moment of our existence. The rose really allows us to do that. And when we do that, we fall in love with life. And when we fall in love with life, we fall in love with the life force and the divine within every living being and human being. So it becomes impossible to inflict harm around us. We automatically become these compassionate, loving beings imbued with the aroma, the perfume, the essence of the rose. So it's something that happens automatically once we start really integrating this.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm excited to listen to this recording and like write that because that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. And that is what I am praying for more and more for this 2024, is to find words like that, to find access points through words, through experiences, to this energy, to this medicine that is, honestly, it's so abundant. It's so abundant. That's one of the most amazing parts of it. It's like, it's everyone here has access to connect to this energy and bring it into their life and embody it and integrate it. It's not reserved for the few who have, you know, are of the elite class or have a lot of money or have had these experiences. It's available to everyone, and it can awaken within you in the flash of an eye. And we did this in one of our sessions prior, like I think a few weeks ago, where we just did a short meditation where we brought the image of the rose into the heart. And that is something you can do at your own time in your meditation. Just visualize a rose expanding in your heart, and there you go. You're already working with her vibration. And yeah, so I really like the abundance of it. When someone asks me, can you teach me about the rose? I'm like, of course. And the best teacher you have right now is the rose and you, because what you're receiving from the rose herself is what you is the codes that are ripe and ready for you. I can share the ones I've received, but as abundant she is and accessible she is to everyone, she's also abundant with codes and knowledge, mystery teachings, wisdoms of being, how to be a human being in this world, in grace and beauty, in abundance, in love, in peace, and all those things. And so what the rose is transmitting to me right now is medicine for me. And what the rose may transmit to you, just by you starting to have a rose on your altar, or visualize a rose in your heart, or drink a rose tea in the mornings, you'll receive different information, and that's your best teacher. So the abundance of her, the way
Yes.
she blossoms and opens infinitely petal by petal, is also just beautiful and such a new paradigm. I mean,
Yes.
it's, I feel like our innate way, but it's a new paradigm for what we're coming out of, which is lack consciousness, which is competition. The rose is everything opposite to that. She is here for everyone, whenever, abundantly offering herself. And yeah, I love that.
Yes, I hold to that so much. It's such a generous energy and a generous teaching, and it is there for really for everyone. And also, I think the rose has the intelligence to go at our pace and to kind of listen to what is present within us, and to allow us to develop, or to allow to blossom or to bloom what we're ready to see and to experience. And I know it's the same for you. For me, ever since I've been on this path, it's one surprise after the other. And the surprises are wonderful, and the surprises are abundant. And I think that's really also one of the other really important energies and essences of the teaching of the rose for me, is that she teaches us to surrender, that there is a higher intelligence, and that's the intelligence of our heart, of our soul, of our spirit, and that we don't have to do everything ourselves, that there is actually a red thread guiding us through life. And if we surrender to that, then the most beautiful and wonderful things unfold and happen in our lives. And she comes with so many blessings, like the energy of the mother and the energy of the divine mother. It's an energy that's so forgiving, that's so generous, and it makes us want to mirror and echo that energy as well. So what I've seen in people who really start to integrate and embody the energy and the teaching of the rose more and more, is that they become more beautiful people. They become more generous. They become more loving. They become more abundant. And I think that is the most wonderful proof of the healing power and the energy of the teachings of the rose.
I love that so much. Even physically, there's a glow,
Yes.
I would say, as
The
well.
rose sparkle that you see in
The
people.
spark, yeah, for sure. I love that. And I love that you brought in the topic of surrender, because that is also so big. And just kind of going back to, the completion of this year, I think if we can bring in and invite that essence of surrender, it can be a lot smoother, especially if you're still kind of going through whatever letting go bits, moments of your process right now, just surrendering and not needing to understand why it's happening. I think I was kind of watching a lot of people try and figuring it out with the mind, like, why am I having this symptom? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And I think we can really learn from the rose just to let all of that chatter go and just surrender to be like, okay, it's happening. Great. And this is a process that I'm going to embrace for now. It will pass. And most definitely in the future, or potentially not, you will be able to connect the dots, but it's not something to understand mentally right now. Just there are on so many levels different things happening on different
Yes.
energetic levels, and we can't see a fraction of them. So to understand it with our mind is close to impossible. And so instead of losing energy on trying to figure it out, just give it to the hands of the divine. I love that. I read that in a book once. It's like when the mind gets busy, just give it to the hands of the divine, and relieve yourself of that for now. You don't need to hold it, and just be with the experience. Be with that experience. I kind of shifted, but I felt that was important to bring in, because surrender is one of the most powerful qualities that the rose also teaches us, because we will see as we continue blossoming in the rose frequency, surrender is not going to be something that we have to roll our eyes at. It's just part, like the tree surrenders its leaves. It doesn't cry because it's losing its leaves. It just knows that it's moving to a new cycle, right? So 2023 for me was a lot about surrender, but at the beginning of the year, I was not that I was making a big deal out of it, but I was sharing like, oh, plot twist, all my plans are dying, new plans. And, and I think what I learned is great. And life is always going to be like that. Always, 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 always. So how can we just accept that surrender and letting go is always going to be part of our lives? And I think as we invite the rose in more and more and embody her frequency more and more and grow with her and in her, the surrender becomes easier. It becomes part of it. So yeah,
Definitely. And I think it's an important note to maybe end on. And I feel like we've sort of circled back to the energy of the solstice, which is all about surrender. And I think that's a beautiful message. We don't have to have all the answers. And it's very, very important on this path to accept to not have all the answers. And it's one of the things that came through for me these last couple of weeks, working with the energy of the Holy Spirit and the Shekinah. One of the things she really instilled in me, it's in the places where you accept not having the answers that I can live and that I can reside and that I can circulate. So she needs open spaces within us. So yes to that.
I love that. Thank you. Can you say that line one more time? That was so powerful.
That it's in the spaces of not knowing, within the spaces where we accept not having answers to our questions, that the Holy Spirit can circulate, that the Shekinah can move in, and that she can reside.
Oh, thank you so much, sister. What an enriching conversation. So grateful for these dialogues.
Me too.
I'm so grateful for you. And on that note, happy solstice to you. Happy solstice to everyone watching. Thank you for being here and being part of the exchange of this rose medicine and rose frequency. And until we meet again.
Until we meet again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bianca. And we will put this episode online as well so you can rewatch it. Gratitude for these moments of seeding of rose consciousness, and for all the people tuning in now and afterwards always. Happy solstice to everyone.